Hello all and welcome to Rugby Thoughts by DrivingMaul. Overnight we had some news coming out of ProRugby, and so I thought it'd be a good chance to have a chat about ProRugby and obviously Season 2. About a month ago, the CEO or the owner or whatever his title is came out and apologised for not talking much and said a whole bunch of things. One, obviously, that they'd had a great first season, and yes, big congratulations, the first season did happen. All the games happened and things changed during the season, but hey, it went ahead. There were no complaints about players not getting paid or anything silly like that, so it was relatively, it was all well run for a brand new league. And he announced a few other things, such as there will be 8 teams across 2 conferences, one on the West Coast, one Mid-Coast, one Mid-East and East Coast. And he also announced that Steve Lewis was leaving. So it was all on Facebook. And then just overnight, they came out on Twitter to say that they wouldn't be having any Canadian teams, that the talks had broken down with Rugby Canada, and that they were asking people for suggestions of venues in Chicago, New York and Boston, because venues have been the problem. So that's kind of the news that's come out over the last month or so. So let's sort of step in and talk about a few of those things. So first up, Steve Lewis. Stephen Lewis was the guy that I was talking with at ProRugby. Had a couple of phone conversations with him and switched emails. So yes, there is that's just a sort of full disclosure kind of thing. I'm sad to see him go. He was the rugby guy who decided which players went where and helped recruiting players. Let's hope they have got someone else in who has got all that rugby background. Otherwise, we could have some problems on that side of things. This isn't a large organisation. Yes, they spent $4 million US dollars on salaries last year, but they also only had 3 names up for contact on their original website. There isn't any names now on there. This isn't a sort of 50, 100 people size sort of back office organisation, I don't think. I think it is a handful of people with various stuff contracted out. So the loss of one of those key people is going to lose a lot of sort of intellectual property early on, or institutional knowledge, should I say, it's not intellectual property, institutional knowledge early on. So hopefully they've got someone in who does know his rugby to help to make sure that doesn't impact Season 2. So let's have a look at Season 2. So there are going to be 8 teams, so 4 teams on the West Coast, as I said, and 4 teams on the Midwest East Coast conference was suggested. So obviously, let's start on the West Coast. We had San Diego, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Now, San Francisco apparently are moving venues, or the current venue they had didn't work out for them. That wasn't good for players or for spectators. So they are looking at a new venue. Hopefully they do keep that team. Originally, I would have expected that the 4th team would have probably been Vancouver, but with Canada pulling out, my next best guess would be Seattle there. So hopefully they put a team up there. Looking at the Midwest East Coast, we have Denver and Ohio already in that space. Now, Toronto would have been the obvious Canadian venue to join that. Now, that's obviously not happening. It looks like sort of Boston, New York, Chicago are places that they're looking and trying to put teams in. It doesn't come across as very professional to be sort of crowdsourcing, but as I said, information. But as I said, this is a small organisation. It's not a so asking for people's ideas and asking people from the rugby community to help out is probably a good thing. I think what they've done, what they've done is they've shocked people here. All their news used to come out through Facebook, their Facebook page. That's where you saw everything coming through. And the Twitter is really for scores, match highlights, that kind of stuff. It wasn't really a place where they were talking with fans or announcing big news things so much. And I do think that they have made a bit of a they could be doing better on the social media side of things. One of the points that the CEO did bring up when he when he did his big review a month ago was that he saw that social media and the internet was the way forward of broadcast, and not TV and big networks. So to have an organisation that's relying on that as your main course and then not to be getting it right is a problem. From what I understand, they outsourced it to a big media agency. Yep, the media agency appears to have been good on the media side of things. I mean, their videos and the TV production they've put out through Facebook Live and stuff has been good. But I'm not so sure about the social side of things. Just little things like they don't have a banner picture on their YouTube account. These are basic things that social folks would know and would put in. So hopefully they get that. The other thing is consistency. You have consistency of how you deliver your message and where you deliver it. By switching from Facebook to YouTube and having had a bit of a gap where there hasn't been many announcements, has definitely jarred with their audience, and hopefully that won't upset the audience too much in that space. But so yeah, I think whilst some people are saying it doesn't come across as being very professional, I do think it's the right way of doing it. They are trying to be a community league and working with the rugby community. So I think actually asking them for venues isn't such a bad idea. The other one that came out obviously was that was the breakdown with Canadian rugby. Now the way they've stated it, I'll quote it word for word so I don't get it wrong. Due to last-minute changes by Rugby Canada, ProRugby USA will not have teams in Canada. Truly sad and disappointed for our Canadian fans and players. Now, what it appears is that this has fallen down on is exclusivity. ProRugby has an exclusive deal with USA Rugby for running a pro league in the USA. And obviously they were looking at having the same protection in Canada. If you're forking out $4 million into a new venture a year in salaries, and obviously we're going to have 3 more teams, so make that 6 or 7 million next season, you are going to want to have some protection of your investment. Where I guess it falls down is probably on the two organisations' different views as to what does professional rugby look like in Canada. Does Pro Rugby think it is 1 team or 2 teams over the next 5 years? Does Canada think it's maybe 10 teams that they can support over the next 5 years? If they're disagreeing on that, then I can see why it would fall down. Also, Rugby Canada maybe has had its eyes turned by the Pro 12, who are talking about putting a franchise into North America, or maybe even Super Rugby. So there's been talk of Super Rugby having a franchise in North America for a long time now. Again, I think Vancouver will be the place for that. If you look in the Pro 12 side, Toronto would make much more sense from a time zone point of view. So I can see how that would have fallen through if they have different visions as to the size and scope of what things will be in Canada. It is a real shame that it has fallen apart. I don't think it is going to come down to just a matter of dollars. I think it's more that long-term big view of where it's going. So, yes, I am looking forward to season 2 of Pro Rugby. They've gone well so far. Can they do better? Absolutely they can. And let's hope that they kind of figure out the social side a bit more, because I do think that is where their best opportunity of growing and penetrating the market really is. And let's hope that they have got the right people in place, that they do get rugby players and can deliver the right product. So if you do know of a venue in Chicago, New York or Boston, do help them out and give them a nod. They're looking for grass pitches, and obviously it has to meet the World Rugby qualifications for grounds. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on Pro Rugby, and enjoy the rugby this weekend, folks.